My girlfriend, she had a rather outlandish sense of style. Every piece of furniture she owned looked as though it had gotten ripped straight from some ghastly childhood nightmare. On a side table in the corner of our bedroom, the figurine lamp seemed to change expression each time I blinked, and after dark, the silhouette of the armchair by the window made me picture some sort of crooked figure hunched forward, watching me sleep. Where the hell can you even buy that kind of stuff? Still, it wasn't my house. And my girlfriend didn't exactly like getting challenged on any decisions regarding interior design, despite promising I could help decorate once I'd moved in. Fortunately, with it being such a big building, there was tons of space. I convinced her that the master bedroom got way too stuffy, so we moved down the hall, into a room with a rocking chair that swayed back and forth, seemingly by itself. After 3 more swaps, a chest of drawers finally broke me. Before lights out I made sure it was closed up tight, but come sunrise, the bottom slot was open, a red t-shirt draped over the edge. This, combined with the brass handles along the top, made it look like a horrible, grinning face sticking its tongue out. I told my girlfriend I'd rather stress about rent again than suffer waking nightmares involving furniture. I simply couldn't stand her aesthetic. Things just weren't working out. She suggested I move into the spare room, the one she'd recently repainted. "You can even decorate it," she said. And so I rolled a sleeping bag across the floor, already browsing the IKEA summer catalog. Sometime after midnight, I woke to sharp, shooting pains in my arms and legs. It crept up toward my shoulders, which angled backward against my ribcage as my body acted all by itself, forcing me into an upward plank pose, palms flat on the floor, hips thrust toward the ceiling. I would have screamed, except my throat had already sealed itself shut. I felt my skull stretch out like taffy, elongating at the sides, while my torso spread itself thinner and thinner, becoming a wide rectangle with a deep recess like a serving tray. I was powerless to do anything besides wobble feebly. From the corner of my eye, I glimpsed a grainy, wooden post, wider around the base like an upside-down salt shaker, and it took me several seconds to realize it was my left leg. Or had been, at least. Just then my girlfriend stepped through the door, her hands hidden behind her back. She stood directly before me and held up an antique hand mirror, smirking. Instead of my own face, I saw only a headboard, my features lost amidst an intricate pattern the color of burnt mahogany. I'd become a creepy, antique bed, one that might look vaguely animated when the shadows hit it just right. And that's when I realized where my girlfriend got all her furniture, and what she really meant by, help decorate. "This is your fault," Father used to say as he threw me in the shed and locked the door. "There's a monster in you, and this is what monsters deserve." I never understood what I'd done wrong. I tried so hard to be good, to be what they wanted. I used to sit in the shed, lonely and hungry and cold. They never gave me food or a blanket, and I wasn't good enough to eat in the house with them and their real kids, and imagine them sitting inside the main house, having chicken and potatoes and cake, smiling and laughing. Happy. I didn't know what that was like. I couldn't ever remember being happy. Only cold. Lonely. Hungry. Hated. For a long time, I tried to understand why they hated me. I heard them say once that I was a bastard, I remember thinking only boys could be bastards, but I guess not. I knew I didn't look like them. They were all so pretty with their blonde hair and blue eyes, and all I had was my dark skin and black, scraggly hair. I prayed for the longest time to look pretty like them so they would love me, but I never did. Every once in a while, father and mother would bring me from the shed, tell me to clean up, and order me to sit down and be quiet. These were the days when the priest came. They were really proud of their image in the community, and I guess seeing me in rags or locked up would make them look bad. I looked forward to those days. I was still ignored and called worthless in under their breath whispers, but I got to eat a real meal and wasn't beaten. Not while the priest was there. On one visit, Julia, the oldest of their real children, poured scalding water on my arm. The priest was gone, and everyone laughed, not even bothering to give me bandages as they threw me back into the shed. As I lay there, alone and in pain, I remembered them saying that I was a monster and this was what I deserved. In that moment, I realized that nothing would ever change. They would treat me like this until I died, and no one would ever miss me. Weeks later, they brought me out and into the house again, telling me to clean up as usual so that they could pretend to be decent people. I did as I was told. Later that night, I stood outside of the house, watching the flames rise against the sky like an angry god. They were so busy pretending to be decent, they never noticed the matches I stole from the kitchen, or the locks from the shed that I fastened to the doors. I thought perhaps I should feel guilty, remorseful. But I didn't. Father always said there was a monster in me. I guess he was right.